Hello, my name is Kat Smith. I am in the Introduction to Management class, and this is my assignment for Module 18, which is to describe an experience we had as part of a task force. I'm going to be talking about the time I was a member of the task force to plan the annual Take Back the Night event at Hofstra University in April of 2018, so just this past year. And Take Back the Night is actually an annual event that I have actually been a part of since my freshman year, but like I said, I'll be describing the certain year of 2018. I came to be a part of this task force because I am actually now the president, but have always been involved in Student Advocates of Safer Sex, or SAS, at Hofstra since I first came to college. And SAS is one of the main groups that helps to plan and put on Take Back the Night each year. The other groups are Collegiate Women of Color, Campus Feminist Collective, and Queer and Trans People of Color Coalition. And the members of the task force are comprised of members of the executive board from each of these groups. So as an executive board member this past year, I was assigned one of the bigger roles in the task force to put on Take Back the Night, which was the Community Partners Chair. That meant I was in charge of facilitating conversations between the community partners that come and speak at our event, of which there are 3 organizations and then 1 speaker, Assemblywoman Salages. She has come and spoken at our last few events of Take Back the Night, along with the 3 organizations, Planned Parenthood of Nassau County, Sepa Mujer, and the Safe Center of Long Island. So I was in charge of facilitating any contact between them, of asking them to come speak at our event, to come table at our event, asking counselors from the Safe Center to be on call at the event for any student that may need them. I also had to make sure that the contracts were sent to these organizations and speakers and given back to Hofstra in time for them to come speak at our event, and that has to be done a few months in advance. And I was given this role because not only was I on the executive board for SAS, but also because I have worked with these groups before in my role of SAS. I've worked with both Planned Parenthood and the Safe Center for a few years now, so I not only knew the contacts there, but had actually worked with them before. So we divided up the rest of the roles based on skill set. So for instance, Mafair, my friend and an executive board member of Campus Feminist Collective at the time, was in charge of data because she is a student data manager with Planned Parenthood. Robin, another one of the executive board members of Campus Feminist Collective, is super organized, so she was in charge of the contract since that's something that all has to be done exactly right. One of the members from one of the other groups, Jess, was the treasurer for a different campus group she was involved in, so she was in charge of finances. A member of Collegiate Women of Color is super good at the application Canva and with making content, so she was in charge of creating and distributing the flyer. And like I said, most of the roles were assigned to different chairs, and those chairs were based on skills set. And from there, they could delegate to other members in their club. Some roles didn't necessarily necessitate a certain skill set, but just needed to be done, so other people who were willing and had the capacity to take on more than one role took them on. So Mafair also was the head of public safety contacts, so she was in charge of making sure they were there for the march that takes place during the event and all of that. Shannon also had capacity for an extra task and role, so she was the head of tabling, so making the spreadsheet for tabling schedule and making sure people are showing up to their shifts. And all of these roles and chairs of these roles were divided from 3 buckets, the outreach bucket, the logistics bucket, and the public relations bucket. And I do think this is the best way to cover all the roles sensibly and effectively. Like I said, Take Back the Night is part of an annual event. Many of us have been working on this event for years, and so we've tried many different management structures. We've tried a MOCA structure, we've tried different ways of buckets organizing, we've tried having the 3 buckets divided amongst back when it was mostly SAS, Campus Feminist Collective, and Collegiate Women of Color, having each club take a bucket, but we found that within that way of organizing, many people's skill sets were not being properly utilized, and by going down here and assigning a chief to every role, a chair to every role, and then letting them delegate within that specific chair position. We found best utilized everyone's skill set and made sure the event went off without a hitch, and that's the management structure that we'll actually be using this year. We've just begun planning for that event.